Welcome to the Forward Marketing Podcast, the podcast that covers internet marketing strategies and leadership tactics to move your business forward. With your host, Joshua Jarvis. Hey, and welcome back to the Forward Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Joshua Jarvis, and I'm super excited to talk to you today because we get to talk about marketing finally again. You can tell that I'm excited, especially when I'm saying get to like that. But again, you can always find our information on forwardmarketing.com/podcast. That's the number 4 RD marketing. And again, as always, I'm your host, Joshua Jarvis. The greatest way to show me love, and I do need love. I am like a lot of you. I need some love and attention, is to go to iTunes and subscribe. And if you're a subscriber, rate. And if you've done those two, I would absolutely just be super excited. I think it's totally awesome if you would share it with your friends and help me grow that way. Also, I would also enjoy an email at joshua@forwardmarketing.com. If you want to sell me SEO services or you want to sell me any digital marketing services, I already do that. So I don't need that. But if you want to make a comment about a podcast, want to suggest a host, suggest a topic, or have a question in general, I am here for you. All right, so excited to get back into talking about marketing. If you remember, I think it was like two episodes ago, last time I talked about marketing was like LinkedIn, and even that was like, hey, how to optimize your profile. It wasn't like super exciting. And then I talked about the GDPR and talking about how to be compliant with the new sort of privacy and security protocols and regulations that are going on in the world today, and make sure that your site is going to be found on Google because of that. And then last week we talked about the mobile first index and how that's already affecting websites right now, and it's something you need to pay attention to. And what's brought these topics up, particularly the last two, was just my experience of dealing with clients. Basically, if you're a business person, I deal with websites every day. I do the digital marketing campaigns. I also systematize your business to deal with the massive lead flow that comes in from what we do. But I'm not talking about that to promote myself. I'm just saying that's basically what I've seen and big problems as people come to me. So. But today we're going to talk about Instagram, and Instagram is one of those things that if you aren't really good at marketing, you'll not get the experience that you want out of it. If you don't pay attention to what people are doing, to the details, then you're going to miss the boat. Instagram looks like a place where you put your favorite meme, you take a picture of a body part, you do, look at me doing squats. Look at me eating a sandwich. Look at me doing all these things that we used to critique Facebook for. I remember when Facebook first came out, we were all making jokes about, I don't care about your food. I'm not care about your picture of your face. But the selfie generation has taken over, and Instagram looks like that. And so you might think, why would my business need to be there? And I can tell you that I've talked to clients that have built their entire clothing business on Instagram, that have built a large percentage of their business off of Instagram. The reason is they know how to use it, engaging with the audience that uses it. People tend to like Instagram because it's very visual. So even someone who critiques it and says, I hate the selfie generation, I hate this, I hate that, they still will browse it because it's very visual, and we're visual creatures, and so we like that. So today I've got 13 do's and don'ts of Instagram strategies. And the first one is you need to identify the audience that you want to attract. So just like in LinkedIn or anything else you need to do, you need to have a defined audience. You need to know the audience. The more you know about your audience, the better. If you know their age, their job title, those sort of things, then you've really done your job. And that's where you can start to have an effective marketing campaign. If you don't know their age and all that, if all you know is they're like, they're males between this and that, or they're females between this and that, or they're marrieds or whatever, that's a good place to start. But try to dial it down. Try to create, have you ever seen the movies or read a book where they talk about basically, getting that persona down to the point to where you name them, that like a character in a story. That is the essence of what I'm talking about, that you need to know your audience and dial it in, get it done to where you've got your target, your prototype person, and that's going to help you a lot. And so do the research. The other thing that you need to do is do the research, not just on your audience, but also on Instagram. So on Instagram, it's got this great thing called a search bar. Now you might wonder how I would know anything about searching. I do love search engine optimization, and as long as someone said, hey, is SEO dead? As long as there are search engines, there will need to be SEO. And so even on Instagram, even on LinkedIn, even on Facebook to some extent, SEO matters. Now, SEO isn't just about Google and ranking for page one. SEO is search engine optimization, and every search engine is a little different. And Instagram is no different in this respect, but it is very different. So what I suggest you do is you type in whatever industry you're in, financial planners, financials. And what's great about Instagram is it'll actually start to show you the number of results. Then what you should do is you start doing a search. Just keep a list going. And in fact, the best bet would be to keep a list, like an actual list, like put it in a notepad or an email or something, so you can go back to it later, and put all the keywords and things that are associated with your brand, with your type of business. The keywords that you use in your marketing would be helpful. So you want to go through all of that and look at not just look at the pictures that are being shared, but look at the pictures that are being shared and look at what has engagement. So what's important to see is what's at the top of the list that Instagram is showing you, but also what are people saying about these different photos, right? And so in some cases, you'll find that there'll be opportunities for you to go after that are words that you never realized, because that's a different word that's being used on Instagram. And one of the great keywords is through keywords in Instagram work in two different ways. So the one is the actual word itself, and you just type that out. But another great way is hashtags. And as annoying as the hashtag whatever movement or fad was a few years ago, where everyone was saying, hashtag this, hashtag that, adding it to very useless sayings, hashtag digital marketing, hashtag real estate, hashtag, dad of the year, that kind of stuff, it's just kind of annoying, but it really, really works on Instagram. In fact, if you type in hashtag any sort of broad-based keyword, real estate, for instance, hashtag realtor, hashtag financial planner, hashtag finances, hashtag retirement, hashtag plumbing, hashtag any Everglades, hashtag Atlanta, hashtag anything, you'll see the number of posts that are there. And I'll give you some insight into the size of the market. If you see like 1,000 posts, then you know that not a lot of people are posting in that category. It also probably means that not a lot of people are looking in that category. So something else to think about. The other keyword that you might not have thought about, so you've got hashtags as keywords. Another one is actually emojis. Now this is the killer tip. If you bared with this podcast for this long and you got onto the minute 7, this could be like the most revolutionary Instagram tip that you're going to hear on any podcast right now, is that you can actually use emoji as like a hashtag or a keyword. Now, how's that for guerrilla marketing and growth hacking, huh? You can make a post and put an emoji on there and actually pop it into the feed. Now, if your picture and everything else doesn't align with what you need to align on, then you're going to fail. But as a way to sort of break in, what an awesome technique that many people are not utilizing. All right, so these do's and don'ts. Do research. Do understand your audience. Do hashtags. Do emojis. Do have an overall visual strategy. A visual strategy. It's not enough just to have a strategy aimed at the audience, but a visual strategy. What are you going to do? Are you going to show young ladies in bikinis and product placements or words that are associated with that thing? Or are you going to, what are you going to do in order to, what is your visual strategy? Is there color combinations that match up with your brand? Is there, I'm trying to think of things that make sense, but something as simple as every post I'm going to have is going to have the logo in the right-hand corner. It's going to have a positive statement. It's going to use the colors that are associated with my website, and the picture needs to be something inspirational or positive. Like that would be a visual strategy, all right? So you just need to have some concept of a visual strategy. One of the things that a lot of people don't do, so this is the next one, is they don't tag their photos. Well, they don't use hashtags and all that other stuff, but they also don't tag the location. That's a huge one, particularly if you have a local business. If you're not tagging the location, then you're missing out on a lot of opportunity because people, when they search, Instagram naturally is going to show them some of the photos that are close to them. And that's how the algorithm works. So you're going to want to tag your location on there. And the only way to do that is if your location is on your phone, just in case you were like, I don't see how to do that. No, that's how you do it. So one of the things you need to do is also use stories. Now, videos come up a lot this year. In fact, my future-proof marketing strategy that I mentioned earlier on in the year involved video. And so video is huge. And if you want to get a leg up with your business and you want to be kind of cutting edge and you want to get more attention on Instagram, Instagram will reward you just like Facebook does, just like YouTube does, just like every other channel that you could be on. They reward you for video. So do the YouTube stories. You might say, well, how do I use the YouTube stories? I don't know. Well, we're going to talk about that in just a second. But basically, you can use the YouTube videos as teasers for upcoming products. You can use the videos. You can use the video stories on I don't know what I just said, but the stories that are on Instagram. I think I said YouTube. You can use the Instagram stories as teasers, news updates, markets, event reminders, those sort of things. And that's actually next step is to do tease anything that's product related, event related, news, those sort of things. You can do those things with these stories. Do use templates if needed. So there's a great site called Canva, CANVA.com, like Canvas but without the S. .com, and you can go and actually just click a button that says Instagram, and you can create a Instagram photo, put that on your phone, and put it on, post it, and that's a great way to keep everything consistent with that visual strategy we talked about, and have that template. And again, the same comment goes for, I think I mentioned it a few episodes ago, but the comment that I made before was like use a template. The only people who know that you use templates are you and probably other business owners that are competitors of yours. Customers do not notice that you're using a template. Even now, I may notice, I use a lot of Unsplash photos. These are sort of royalty-free stock images. I notice these all over the internet now, but the average person isn't going to notice them. So use a template. Okay, so the other thing is you want to plan your posts. So plan out your posts. So the big thing is being consistent. This is true for a lot of the social media marketing channels, whether it's LinkedIn and you're using the feed, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, all these. If you're consistently posting content and it's consistently getting engagement, then you will be successful with this. If you are not being consistent, that's when your engagement is going to drop off and you're not going to see the results that you want to see. So you've got to be consistent with it. So definitely do that. The other thing that you need to do, so this is the next one, so you need to plan out your post. Do use Instagram as a reminder. And what I mean by that is that your content can be a reminder content. So it doesn't have to be posts about your food. It doesn't have to be posts about anything that you think is earth-shattering. It could just be a reminder, hey, today we've got an open house if you're a real estate agent. Or it could be a reminder about a business, a reminder about a sale going on. Those are also great ways to use Instagram. One of the best tips, though, is the next one, is that do add value. So when you do a post, think about your audience. What would they want? What would they want to engage with? Make sure that whatever you do, you come from a place of contribution, and you'll always be rewarded with that. I think a lot of people, though, when they use Instagram, they don't know how to use it, and they don't necessarily think that maybe a series of Instagram posts about tips would actually be useful. Remember back when we did we talked about how drip marketing drip email marketing, the strategy is great, but the tactics are not. This could be a place where you could add value and do a series of Instagram posts that are adding value, that are basically replacing that value add sort of training or welcome email that you were doing before, and do it in Instagram format. That could be another way to do that. So the next is do pictures that are of you, of customers, of things that are real and authentic. What you don't want to do is use stock images that look like bad stock images. What I mean by that is there's a difference between seeing 5 business owners smiling together who have airbrush faces versus seeing on Splash, seeing 2 business owners shaking hands, and then you've got a quote above that. There's a difference between that. Now, both require stock images, but one has this sort of salesy look. It's kind of cold, and so stay away from those. Stay away from anything that feels like clip art or things like that, and stick to either sort of inspirational type photos or be really authentic. Take pictures of you at work. Take pictures of you at your workstation, you with clients, and other things there. So that is actually next, is be authentic. I can't stress this enough. If you aren't authentic on Instagram or Facebook, then you tend to get tuned out. And so you can still be marketing focused, and without being, you can still be marketing focused and be authentic at the same time. It's not an either or proposition. You can totally do both. The other do, and this would be number 13, if I remember correctly, is to do things with your customers. Nothing is better than a picture with your customer and a testimonial that is a great Instagram post. In fact, one of the strategies might be for you is to go do this. Go take pictures with your clients, create a their review, and put it in text on top of the picture with your logo on it. Save up a bunch of these so that you can release them like a drip campaign almost, but on Instagram you could release them over time. And there's nothing that would be a great strategy to use, especially if you're struggling with what kind of content should you do. The biggest thing with Instagram, as with anything, like especially this podcast, is creating enough content that you can be consistent every day or every week or every month, whatever it is. You want to be consistent in that. So as you go through this process, the biggest way to have success on Instagram is being consistent. And one of the things you can do is, like I said, you can utilize these techniques to be found, to get more engagement. But as you get engagement, you need to engage. So make sure that you reply to your comments. Make sure you pay attention to those things. Make sure that if there are other people who are in your space, maybe not competitors, but ancillary businesses or people, your customers, engage with those people just like you would on Facebook. Like their posts, comment on their photos. In fact, I find that there's so few comments on Instagram. It's a great way for you to use it as a networking avenue, or just build a relationship. So hopefully this was helpful. This will be a little bit shorter today. You probably are very thankful for that. I'm not rambling on about security protocols or any of that stuff. And so if you want more help with your Instagram marketing, you feel free to email me at joshua@fordmarketing.com. To be honest with you, if you just simply have a strategy, you map it out, you be authentic, and you leverage hashtags in the right way, you'll be well on your way to growing your audience, and that's probably the biggest thing. And don't go to my Instagram thing and think, well, how is he able to talk to us about this? His Instagram account looks awful. Yes, it's kind of the cobbler's shoes thing. Cobbler's kids mentality is that basically there's a lot of things I know that I need to be doing, but I'm not, because I have clients that I'm doing it for. And so by the time I get to it on my end, I'm not able to do it. That's why, like I said, these podcasts are pretty much the only thing I do for lead generation or anything else for forward marketing as it relates to that business. Everything else is by referral. So how do you show me you love me? You go on iTunes and you subscribe. And if you've done that, then you review the podcast. And if you've done that, you share the podcast. Outside of that, the only way to get my love would be become one of my clients. and I do not want to use the podcast in this way to ask for business directly. So if you have questions, you want me to help you, please just email me at joshua@fordmarketing.com. The time for this to be a commercial podcast will come as soon as the listeners grow to the point to where I could do this full time, which I'd love to do this to be able to help your business grow. If you have topics, suggestions, I would love to hear it. And you can email me, as I mentioned, at joshua@fordmarketing.com. Feel free to comment on any of the show notes podcast. I do publish comments, so if you do have a comment, I would love to publish it. I'd love to link back to your website. If you want to spam me, I will mark it as spam. And that is it for today. So look forward to catching you next week on another great episode of Ford Marketing.